The Eagles' latest trade update is pretty unexpected, as a new report just revealed that Philly could be in the market for another backup quarterback, which has started some speculation that the Birds' current backup could be on the move next. Meanwhile, we just got a big update on Cooper DeJean in the form of some recent comments from defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, plus what's going on with Reed Blankenship's pending contract extension, and could the Eagles be looking to trade up in the draft for this top safety prospect? Well, we'll break that down as well as go over all the other latest Eagles news starting right now. Okay, so while the main focus in the Eagles offseason right now is definitely the upcoming NFL draft, and rightfully so, we also got some other big offseason events coming up very soon, with the first of those actually beginning right before the draft, as the Birds' offseason training schedule was just revealed, and phase 1 of that starts on April 21st. So the Birds are going to be back in the building in a little under 3 weeks, which is honestly just crazy how quick that happened. And just to give a quick breakdown, the Eagles' offseason workout plan is going to last for about 9 weeks and is going to be broken down into 3 phases. Now, phase 1 of that plan, like I said, starts April 21st. It lasts for about 2 weeks and consists of only meetings, strength and conditioning, and physical rehabilitation. And then phase 2 will last for 3 weeks, with that allowing for some on-field work and drills, both individually and also in group settings, but it is limited pretty significantly. Plus, you also likely got rookie minicamp somewhere in there. And then to wrap things up, you have phase 3 for the final 4 weeks of the offseason training period, where the Birds will have things like OTAs and mandatory minicamp. And with that, of course, will come offense versus defense, 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 reps, and also a lot of live reporting coming from practice. So that's going to be a time that you're really going to want to pay attention to. And luckily, the Eagles' full OTA and mandatory minicamp schedule was released, with them set to have 6 voluntary OTA practices, those being May 27th, 28th, 30th, and also June 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. And then for mandatory minicamp, the Birds are only going to have 1 of those days as opposed to 3 last year, that day being on June 10th, before the Birds then hit summer break before returning for training camp in late July. So again, a lot of stuff is going to be happening for the Birds over these next several months, so make sure you guys are subscribed and you have notifications turned on, because I'm going to be covering it all. And of course, with the 2025 Eagles getting out on the field for the first time fairly soon, we're going to get to see a lot of the new faces out there, whether that's the rookies the Birds bring in or the guys they added in free agency. Speaking of which, we just got some updates regarding what numbers those guys are going to wear, with Adoree Jackson set to take over number 8 from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, while new backup quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson will wear number 14. Returner Avery Williams will wear 18, pretty much confirming that Britton Covey is going to be gone, and long snapper Charlie Hewlett is going to wear number 47. Plus, A.J. Dillon just revealed that he's going to wear number 29, which of course belonged to Avonte Maddox for the past 7 years, but before that, it belonged to Birds Super Bowl champion running back LeGarrette Blount, who a lot of people have compared to Dillon since he signed with Philly. So hopefully he can live up to that number and be a solid contributor out of the backfield behind Saquon Barkley. Speaking of new players and new places though, the Birds' rival Dallas Cowboys actually just made a trade yesterday, as they sent a 5th round pick to New England in exchange for backup quarterback Joe Milton and a 7th round pick, which honestly, I gotta say, I think that's a pretty good trade for them to get a solid young backup after Cooper Rush just went to the Ravens in free agency. However, what's interesting about this deal is that, according to a report from Jordan Schultz, the Eagles were apparently interested in trading for Milton too. And what's weird about that is the fact that the Eagles already traded for a backup quarterback this offseason in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who they obviously got from the Browns in the Kenny Pickett trade, plus they also have Tanner McKee, who, after the Pickett trade, looks to be the Birds' clear-cut QB2. So the fact that they were possibly willing to give up assets to trade for another backup quarterback in Joe Milton doesn't exactly fully make sense. That is, unless the Eagles actually might be looking to trade Tanner McKee, which the Philly Times suggested here in this tweet that says that other teams do in fact have interest in Philly's backup. Now, where's the source on that? I'm not exactly sure, so I do question the validity of this quote-unquote report a little bit, no disrespect to the Philly Times. However, I'm sure there is definitely some truth to that claim just based on how McKee played last season when he was called upon, because he absolutely balled out against the Cowboys and Giants to close out the regular season, and he's also been a preseason star for the Birds the past 2 years, so I'm sure that caught some teams' attention. However, that's exactly why I don't want the Birds to trade McKee in the first place unless they get some crazy offer. Because again, this guy has done everything possible to earn that backup job, and he's proven that he can be trusted if he has to step in. So again, I would definitely like for McKee to stick around, and honestly, I think he probably will. However, the fact that the Eagles were apparently interested in Joe Milton is hard to ignore. That said, Milton would have been a clear upgrade over DTR, and it could have a lot to do with the Eagles maybe wanting to get a more reliable mobile backup quarterback in here behind Jalen Hurts, in addition to also having Tanner McKee. So Who knows, but what do you guys think? Do you buy the trade rumors surrounding Tanner McKee? What are your thoughts on them being interested in Joe Milton? Again, just give me all your thoughts down in the comments below. Speaking of trade rumors though, the Birds actually just got some more of those recently regarding the NFL draft, as a recent mock draft from NFL.com writer Eric Edholm has the Eagles trading up in the first round with the Minnesota Vikings to get to pick 24, where they would then select standout Georgia safety Malaki Starks. And this could make sense for multiple reasons, as although the article doesn't give the exact trade details, it would likely give Minnesota an extra draft pick or two, which they currently could really use given the fact that they only have 4 picks this year. Plus, we all know that the Eagles love Georgia Bulldogs, and Starks is a really exciting prospect and just one of the top safeties in this entire draft. And he's a guy that's similar to CJ Gardner-Johnson in the sense that he brings a lot of energy, he plays hard and he hits hard, and he's also quick and athletic, he's great against the run, he's got good instincts in zone coverage, and he has the ability to take the football away too. So he kind of checks every box in what the Eagles would potentially be looking for in a rookie safety. And of course, after trading CJ away, the Birds could use a starting safety depending on how they feel about Sidney Brown, of course. Plus, when it comes to the safety position, another thing that could influence whether the Birds want to go after one in this draft or not would be what they plan on doing with Reed Blankenship, as the Birds' one surefire starting safety is set to enter the last year of his contract in 2025, so the Eagles are going to have to make a decision on whether to extend him soon or just let him play out the rest of his contract. Now, initially, after CJ Gardner-Johnson was traded, both reporter Jeff McLean and CJ himself actually mentioned Reed possibly getting an extension as a reason for the trade. It's just that it's now been almost a month since then, and we haven't heard anything else regarding a Blankenship extension. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, for all we know, they could be working on one right now behind the scenes, but it is interesting to think about where Blankenship ranks on the Eagles' list of priorities when it comes to extending guys. I mean, I don't want to downplay Reed's value at all because I feel like that happens far too often as he's the leader of the secondary at this point. He's been a consistent presence at safety over the past 2 seasons, both in coverage and against the run, plus he has a knack for taking the football away, and he's only 26 years old, so I definitely want to keep him here as long as possible. That said, I mean, just think about it. Over the next 3 off seasons, including this year, the Birds likely are going to want to extend guys like Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean, plus decisions still have to be made on guys like Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean as well. And that's on top of all the big contracts the Eagles already have on the book. So, basically my point is the Birds simply cannot pay everybody, so they may have to make some tough calls, and you have to wonder how much the Eagles are prioritizing getting a deal done with Blankenship compared to some of these other guys. So, I don't know. Personally, I love Reed and would love to keep him here long term, but it's got to be for the right price. So we'll see what happens, but again, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on this. But now, going from one exciting white to another, we just got a big update on Cooper DeJean yesterday, as of course, ever since the Eagles released Darius Slay and then lost him to the Steelers in free agency, there have been questions as to what the Eagles might do at that cornerback position, especially with Isaiah Rodgers also departing and going to the Vikings in free agency. Now, ever since all this happened, I've been saying that Kelee Ringo's probably going to get the start, which honestly is what I want to happen just because I think he has a lot of talent and potential. And then, of course, there's also the veteran Adoree Jackson who might be able to compete for the job. And there's also a chance that the Eagles could draft somebody to compete for that spot as well. However, one other scenario that we talked about when it comes to replacing that outside cornerback spot is maybe moving Cooper DeJean from the slot to the outside, whether that's in certain packages or even full-time. Now, personally, I've never really liked that idea too much just because, we saw just how darn good and impactful DeJean was in the slot last season, so my thought process is, why mess with that? And apparently, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio sees it the same way, as at the Phillies game yesterday, he did a quick on-field interview with John Clark, where he revealed exactly what position DeJean will be playing moving forward, saying, quote, "I really like him as the nickel. I'd like to see him stay at the nickel. He plays it very well. He's got good size in there. I think he enjoys playing in that position." So there you go, DeJean's staying in the slot, which is exactly how I want it, and now we'll just have to wait and see who wins the starting outside job this offseason, whether that's Kelee Ringo or somebody else. Moving on though, we just got some big news that could impact the Eagles' situation with Dallas Goedert, as yesterday, one of the NFL's top tight ends in the Cardinals, Trey McBride, got paid, as he signed a 4-year, $76 million contract extension to make him the highest paid tight end in NFL history. And this could affect the Eagles situation with Goedert because obviously he's on the last year of his deal with no guaranteed money left. And there's been a lot of speculation that he probably could want a new deal. The issue, though, is that he's 30 years old, he's kind of injury prone, and also the Eagles are trying to save money and clear cap space right now so that they can afford to sign their other young guys moving forward in future offseasons. So they really can't afford to give Goedert a raise right now. Now, I've been holding out hope personally that they can pull off a one-year restructure with Goedert, something that's team-friendly in the sense that it doesn't hurt the Eagles cap-wise down the road. However, now with McBride's new deal, Goedert's probably going to at least want to be compensated a little bit more. So, this is all speculation, so we really don't know what's going to happen, and who knows, maybe Goedert could come back on a one-year restructure, but with him already being on the trade block reportedly and all the rumors swirling, McBride's new extension potentially just made things a little more complicated. And speaking of the tight end position, if the Eagles do end up moving on from Goedert, or even if they don't this year specifically, it's looking extremely likely that they're going to draft one at some point here in this year's draft. And this honestly might be the perfect class to do that, considering that there's just so many top-tier prospects that could go in the first 3 rounds that the Eagles can choose from to become Goedert's successor. Whether it's a guy like Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, who has exciting speed and athleticism at the tight end position. He's also really, really good after the catch, and he's got great hands. Plus, he's got a lot of experience playing under the Eagles' new quarterbacks coach in Scott Loeffler. Or you could look at a guy like LSU's Mason Taylor, who is another reliable target with great hands. He has a knack for getting open against zone coverage, and he also has good run after the catch ability. Or there's Gunnar Helm from Texas, who has great size and can be a really good red zone threat. He also has really good hands and is a great route runner, plus he's a really solid blocker as well. And then there's also Miami's Elijah Arroyo, who is also a good route runner with great hands. He can stretch the field, he can block, and he plays with a certain level of aggression too. And that's not all the tight end prospects that the Eagles could go after, so I definitely think that's going to be a position group to watch for the Birds when the draft rolls around here in a few weeks. But all that said, you guys know that I'm going to be continuing to cover all the Eagles news throughout this entire offseason, so if you don't want to miss any of that, then make sure you guys subscribe and you turn on notifications. That way you're notified instantly when I upload a video or go live. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of the coverage coming this entire offseason. So again, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and also drop a like down below to show some support because it really does help me out a ton. See if we can get to at least 500 likes today, and also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. What are your thoughts on a potential Reed Blankenship extension? Do you think the Eagles could possibly trade Tanner McKee? Again, I'd love to hear all your thoughts down in the comments below. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video going over a lot more stuff, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.